Welcome to Enlightenment with Julian Nicholas, your gateway to a journey of self-discovery and empowerment. In each episode, Julian delves into the essence of wisdom and self-esteem, offering insights and messages to inspire your growth. Now, here's your host, Julian Nicholas, to guide you on this transformative journey towards living your best life.
Welcome to the Enlightenment podcast. My name is Julian Nicholas, and if you are a returning listener, I'm happy to see you again. But if you are a new listener, it's a pleasure to meet you. Before we proceed with this episode, I just want to address some very important information. For starters, Enlightenment has a new TikTok page. The TikTok page will post some highlights from the most recent episode. The TikTok account is at the.enlightenment7, and it should have just a candle as the profile picture. Or you can always go to the link in either my bio on the official Enlightenment Instagram page at enlightenment_pod or in the description down below. We also like to announce that we have a YouTube channel, and if for some reason you cannot access Spotify or Apple Podcasts, do not worry, do not fret, there's always YouTube. It goes by the same name as this here podcast, Enlightenment with Julian Nicholas, or at Enlightenment Pod. With that being said, folks, in today's episode, I will be telling you about loneliness. What exactly is loneliness? According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, the word loneliness is a noun that derives from the word lonely. The word lonely typically means either being without company or being cut off from others. However, in this case, both definitions are perfect. Now, me personally, my definition for the words like lonely or loneliness normally would fall under the idea that you are isolating yourself from people, whether it's already established relationships with friends or a partner or even family. Sometimes it could be due to the fact that you're having a hard time relating and understanding people. To really understand people you're around with, or even if they're close to you, that feeling of being disconnected with people is a crucial reason why someone may feel lonely. For the most part, we, as not just people or a society, but as a species, thrive and have desires for fitting in and interacting. To have some sort of a social group to be around and to have. However, with time, we begin to crave for independence and to be more by ourselves. To crave for our own endeavors and to not be over-reliant on social groups that we had with others. This is called being alone. There is a key difference between being alone and being lonely, because many people tend to intertwine the two. You see, with being alone, you can sustain yourself and take the time away from socializing with others, to where you can function well enough where you don't really need or you don't want people to interfere with your self-imposed isolation unless if it was on your terms and you invite them to join you, ending the period of self-isolation. Now, many people may say, "Oh, Julian, I don't like being alone. That sounds pretty negative." Don't worry. Being alone can actually be a positive thing. Being alone can allow you to clear your mind of your current problems in a more healthy and meaningful way. You're not directing your raw, bottled, and perhaps even uncontrolled emotions like anger and frustration towards anyone. Instead, you are allowing yourself to decompress and to have a better chance of processing, reflecting, acknowledging, and addressing your problems in order to find a better solution. sometimes being alone can also be an escape for oneself. It can be a sense of relief and relaxation, especially when you're going through a rough week, a rough day, and you simply crave for that leisure time. And a way to attain it is to not be pestered by anyone. Say you had a long and stressful week. You've been working so hard, you're bent out of shape, you're tired, and you just don't feel like your natural self. You feel like one small step will drive you crazy and up the wall. However, let's pause for a minute and let's analyze and realize. You know you're tired. You know you've worked a long and exhausting week, but you worked really hard. To you, you feel like you earned this time to yourself. And you do. You do. You earned it. You've worked so hard, and I'm proud of you. You see, being alone can be a rewarding thing rather than a negative thing. Being alone allows you to really gather your thoughts and allows you to think and decompress, to really look back on your day and make you think, I've worked a long day, and I think I deserve this. I deserve this time to be alone and to be free from all these outside forces. And it just brings you to a state of calmness. To really allow yourself to focus on yourself and to not just physically repair from the stress you've been dealing with, but the mental stress that comes with it. Being alone and having time to yourself can help with self-growth and development. With that space and time to yourself, you can really focus and start learning a new skill or prioritize your health and well-being, or even expand your emotional maturity and wisdom by educating yourself on subjects and topics relating to emotional maturity as a whole. And you can do that by following this podcast. Another thing I like to add is the fact that being alone sometimes can make whatever task you're looking forward to get done or that you need to get done take less time, since there's no external force or nature that is taking up that precious time and distracting you from the task at hand. Where you are able to put all your attention on the assignment and prioritize getting it done, rather than devoting your time to the distractions whatsoever. What I'm trying to say is, being alone can be a good thing, since it can give you the opportunity to not just focus on a skill or a task, but also yourself. You can focus on yourself in a way where it's healthy and safe, and you can prioritize personal progress instead of putting time into something that's not benefiting you. Now, being lonely, however, it's when you feel out of place, when you feel disconnected with people, even if it's people you know very well or people that you're very close to. In fact, there's plenty of reasons why someone may feel that sense of loneliness. This can range from feeling like no one is listening to them, that they don't care about them, not being able to express how they feel, or even starting something new or major in their lives, but they feel like it's not the place that they belong in. We as people want to feel accepted or at least heard and acknowledged by someone. Whether it's our family, our peers, we all at least desire to fit into something or with someone. And I like to tell you that it's okay to feel like that. to feel that sense of being alone. Some people may feel like being a loner is weird. It makes them feel less of themselves. Well, I like to tell you that if you feel like you are a loner, you are not less of a person, and that doesn't make you weird. Being unable to fit into a certain group or crowd doesn't make you weird or make you feel less of a person. It doesn't mean you won't be able to find yourself into some other club or find other people who's willing to listen to you and what you like, how you feel. Maybe you'll be able to find someone or some group who's not only makes you feel like a person, but also allows you, if not encourages you, to be their friend and express yourself and how you truly feel. To allow yourself and your voice to be seen and heard and to flourish. Now, let me tell you a personal story about myself. For some time now, I've been friends with people who are really good friends, but I just can't really fit in or understand them. Usually they leave me out of discussions, even when I'm at the table or when I'm around them, as if I was just there or barely exist to them. Don't get me wrong, these guys are still nice people to me, and they really enjoy my company when I'm included. I just feel like I didn't fit in with them, as if I just was there and I was just bothering them, that I just stood out like a sore thumb. If anything, it's probably because they know each other longer before they knew me, because I'm new to this group. I'm new to them. They all have something that they can relate to, and they can find something that's easy for them to enjoy, or they're enjoying a trend, they're listening to a trend that they're fond of compared to me. For example, they really like sneakers or soccer or certain musicians, artists, and rappers. But me, I'm not into sneakers or soccer. I'm a nerd. If anything, I like things like history and writing poetry, and I don't even listen to rap. If anything, you'll find me listening to Elvis or Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, things like that, honestly. Another thing is that these guys are in relationships. Another thing that they can relate to, but I can't because I'm still single. It could also be due to the fact that I can be smarter than them when it comes to things. Now, let me make this clear. This isn't diminishing their intelligence. In fact, they are smart in their own right. I think it's just the fact that with certain things that we may be interested in, they could be smarter in things that I might not be well-versed or intelligent in. It could also be due to the fact that I can be smarter than them on certain topics. Now, this does not diminish their own intelligence. I believe that people are smart in their own way. But I do believe that it also depends on what you're really interested in. Because when you think about it, if you're interested in something, you probably want to know more about that subject. For example, I love history. You can ask me anything about history, and I will tell you immediately the date, the time, the place, the geography. I will tell you that. And if you ask any of my friends, they probably wouldn't know, because history may not be their interest, but certain musicians, artists, their favorite shoe brand, their favorite soccer player. You have people who are fascinated with these things and are more well-versed in these things compared to me or other people who aren't interested in these things. In fact, sometimes I regret the fact that I'm smart, because deep down, I feel like if I wasn't smart, or at least smart in things like history, geography, etc., I could find an easier time fitting in with people and making myself feel less lonely. However, I'm wrong to think that way. To think that I am smart in the way that I talk, or just me being different from the rest of the crowd and sticking out like a sore thumb is the reason why I'm lonely. Because in reality, I have, or at least need to find other friends just like me, who are really smart, who have the same interests as I do, and who also sticks out like a sore thumb among their friends. This actually can bring us together, allowing us to divulge our emotions and how we really feel about things, and converting that feeling into something positive and maybe even uplifting. And while yes, I'm not in a relationship with someone yet, this is where being alone actually comes in handy. Because of the fact that I am alone romantically, singlehood gives me the time to really focus on myself and to improve myself physically, but to also better myself emotionally and mentally. It was crucial for me to tell you this story in order for people like you to understand that your gifts, like your intelligence or skills, or even your wit and charisma, can be used to make friends. Don't use or even see what you already have as a hindrance or a negative. Don't allow yourself to do that. Instead, put a spin on it and use what you have to your advantage, even if it helps with getting you out of that feeling of being lonely. When it comes to feeling lonely, try find something that you are interested in doing and try to put yourself out there. Try to find a friend or a group that shares at least that one common interest. Use that interest to break new ground and really get to know your friend or group of new friends. Eventually, with time, a strong bond begins to grow like a daisy in a quiet garden. Eventually, that one lonesome daisy will have an entire field of daisies just like itself. However, you also need to learn that sometimes the daisy's roots might become too close and intertwined. So sometimes it's good to place the daisies separately. That way, they have time to themselves. And that is the same thing with you, the lonesome daisy. You have to acknowledge that you need some time to yourself before you can really get involved with anyone again, like with your friends, your new friends, or your old friends. To take that time to relax and enjoy doing the things you like to do on your own. That way you can balance with being with your friend group and avoiding the feeling of loneliness. Because you not only get along with your new friends, but you truly understand them. You truly connect with them. Along with self-autonomy, your will to do things alone and prioritize on yourself. Along with self-autonomy, your will to do things alone and prioritize on yourself and your own well-being, then my friend, you have everything covered. I like to provide a quote from author Mandy Hale. I like to provide a little quote, from the author Mandy Hale. Her quote is, "A season of loneliness and isolation is when the caterpillar gets its wings. Remember that next time when you feel lonely." Well, my friend, you have reached the end of this lovely discussion. to ensure that you are in the right headspace and you continue to follow the path of progress to better equip yourself with the sage wisdom to help guide you on your journey we call life. If you wish to continue our weekly talks on how to become a better version of yourself, my suggestion is to press the follow or subscribe button wherever you're listening to this fine podcast. If you feel like someone could be in need to hear these words, to stir them to the path of progress, and to feel empowered, informed, and inspired, why not share this podcast and its teachings to them? Until next time on our journey, my friend, keep the candle burning.
Thank you for listening to Enlightenment with Julian Nicholas. We hope today's episode has sparked new insights and empowered you on your path to personal growth. For more inspiration and wisdom, be sure to subscribe and follow. Connect with Julian on Instagram at enlightenment_pod. And if you found value in the show, please tell someone else. Join Julian next time as he continues his journey towards enlightenment. Until then, remember to embrace your journey and live your best life.